So this is the arrest, sort of Tyreek Hill, wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. He got pulled out of a car, sort of like it seemed like he was going to get arrested, and then he ended up just getting a citation. It's been a little bit of controversy around it. People saying that the officers did too much, and some people saying that Mr. Hill did too much. Who was right? Who was wrong? In this video, we're going to talk about it, and I will give you some of my thoughts and opinions, and you can do what you will with that and make your own decision. Just for a little context, for those of you who might not know who I am or what my channel is, maybe this is your first time here. I'm a police officer in the state of Texas. Been a cop for about 5 years now. Work in a large city, so we get exposed to a lot of different stuff at a lot higher frequency than your typical like county cop or rural area cop. Did 4 years on patrol, and now I'm at a specialized like street crimes warrant service type of unit, not SWAT, but sort of like a level or two below them. And so even with only 5-ish years on the department, I've done a lot of stuff, seen a lot of stuff, been involved in a lot of different types of operations. I've also made a ton of traffic stops that went something like this, not to the point of like me ripping them out of the car, but like just the drivers being an idiot, talking crap, you know, all that kind of stuff, and not physically resisting, but you know, verbally being non-compliant, stuff like that. So I've been in this situation numerous amounts of times, and they're never fun. They're always very annoying, but I do think I have a little bit of experience to be able to talk on this based on that. So let's watch the video one time through really quick, no commentary or anything. I'll start it from when the officer initially makes contact till after they get him to sit on the curb, and we will talk about it from there.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on?
Don't knock on my window.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on?
Knock on my window like that, though.
Like what?
Don't knock on my window like
Why
that.
you have it up?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up? I have enough to let you know I'm here. That way you can know where to talk to
Give
you.
me my ticket, bro, so I can go. I'm late, man. Do what you gotta do.
Keep it down. Hey! Keep your window down. Hey! Keep your window down.
Don't tell me what.
Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
Give me that.
Get out of the car.
Give me that. We'll break that freaking window.
Get out of the car.
I'm gonna get out.
Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out.
Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. What part of knowledge you understand? Hey, Drew. Hey, Drew. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting out, bro. God damn, twin.
When we tell you to do something, you do it.
I'm getting
You understand?
out. I'm getting out,
You
bro.
understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you.
I'm getting
You're a little
out.
fucking confused.
I'm getting out, bro.
Too late.
Chill,
Too
bro.
late.
All right, bro. Take
Too
me to
late.
jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro.
We are. We will.
Good, bro.
It is good.
Hey, Drew. Hey,
Don't worry about it. I hung up the phone. You stop crying.
bro. Y'all,
Don't move.
good. Bro, you
Sit 'em
beating
up.
on my window like you crazy.
Set him up.
Why y'all beating on my window like y'all crazy for? Damn, y'all, bro, dude, beating on my window like he crazy. I ain't do nothing, twin. Damn. How long? Pull to the side, no.
Hey, don't park there.
I'm gonna have a seat.
Don't park there.
Hey,
Have a seat.
I'm thinking.
No, you're doing it now. Go.
Have a seat. Hold on, twin, hold on, bro. I just had surgery on my knee. Bro. I just had surgery
Really?
on
What
my
a
knee, bro.
coincidence. I just saw you in your ears when we told you to put your window down.
Chill, bro. Chill, bro. Hey, don't do, bro.
Back up.
Hey, call Drew. Hey, call Drew.
So the most important part of this whole thing, like for the full context, is what is Miami-Dade's policies on use of force? Well, I'll have some pop-ups on screen because the paragraphs are fairly long and I don't want to sit here and read them out verbatim for you, so you can pause the video, read them. It's not the full policy. I'll have the full thing linked in the description below if you want to read it yourself. But generally speaking, it is very, very broad, and it doesn't define any sort of threat matrix or like when you can use takedowns or strikes, or it doesn't define much of anything. It kind of just says like whatever is objectively reasonable in the circumstances, which I thought was pretty interesting because a lot of departments, especially now, are starting to really define when officers can go hands-on with somebody, when they can use strikes, when they can do basically everything. And so to see a department that is in a big metropolitan area and it doesn't have that is kind of odd to me. But I also don't sit here and look up other departments' policies because for me it's really irrelevant because all I need to care about is my own department's policies. So, but I think that's important because if you look at their policy and you look at their actions, it doesn't necessarily break any sort of policies. It's going to be up to interpretation by their internal affairs and their chief and their higher ups to determine if this was objectively reasonable under the circumstances. So what do I think about this whole ordeal? I think baseline, if Mr. Hill had just been a little bit more compliant on pretty much every level, everything would have been avoided. It's really simple. Like if you get pulled over for a traffic violation, a couple things are going to happen on pretty much all of them. The officer's going to make contact with you, explain to you why you were stopped. He's going to ask you for your driver's license, registration maybe, depending on the state, and your insurance, depending on the state. He might ask you some questions beyond that. You may or may not have to answer those, but he's then going to run your information, determine if he wants to give you a ticket or a warning. He's going to make that decision and go from there. Mr. Hill doesn't have to like police. You don't have to treat them as you would treat your mom or something. Like, would we like that? I mean, yeah, like we don't like getting cussed out and all that sort of stuff. But we do have the freedom of speech here in America, so you can pretty much say whatever you want as long as it's not a threat to public safety. But so like all Mr. Hill would have had to have done is keep his window rolled down, give him his insurance, his driver's license, all that sort of stuff. If he didn't want to answer any questions after that, he probably doesn't have to. And then the officer's going to make their determination on what they're going to do, whether they give him a warning or a ticket, and they would have been on their way. The issue is when he decided to first roll his window up as he was getting stopped, like that doesn't make much sense because you know you're getting stopped, you know the officer's gonna make contact with you, so leave the window rolled down. And then once he did roll the window down, he starts arguing with the officer, he then rolls it back up after that. Like it's gonna preempt most officers to sort of escalate a little bit to the point of probably pulling you out of the car, not necessarily physically, but like telling you to get out of the car rather, because like it's really simple. Like this car is obviously fairly tinted, the window tint's pretty dark, and it's a bright sunny day. There's reflections on the window from the sky and the surroundings, and so if your window's up and we can't see into that car, we don't know what you're doing. That is therefore a threat to us because we don't know who you are. We don't know what you have in the car. We don't know what your intentions are. Looking at it from that perspective, like for our own safety, we want to know what's going on at all times. And so we're gonna have you step out of the car so that we can pat you down for weapons, make sure you don't have anything on you, and we can make sure we don't get shot in the face through the window because, again, we don't know who you are. For all we know, you have a murder warrant 5 states over, you're on the run from the police over there, and you're going to shoot the next cop that tries to take you to jail. So there's no defense really to how Mr. Hill handled this whole incident. But being that the Miami-Dade's department policy on use of force is so broad and up to interpretation, I really don't know what is going to come of this for the specific officers involved. Just for a little bit more context, like would I have immediately started physically pulling him out of the car once the door came open? Probably not. If you look and you pay attention, as they open the door, which I agree with, like they verbally told him to get out of the car, he didn't listen, so therefore open the door. But when they did that, he started to turn his body and move his left leg out of the car, so to me it looks like he was getting out of the car at that point. Whether or not he was actually, or if he was just turning his body, I don't know. But if I was to see this and see what he was doing, I would probably, like personally, I would probably grab his left wrist so I at least have control of one arm. And then I would be constantly assessing, is this guy complying or is he not complying as he's doing whatever he's doing. If he starts to pull his wrist back and starts to sort of move back into the car, well then yeah, you're probably gonna go and start, you know, the whole extrication process of pulling him physically out of the car. But if you're holding onto the wrist and sort of guiding him out and he's not really resisting that, then there's really no reason to escalate the use of force beyond that. Now, the second use of force, when they were trying to tell him to sit on the ground over on the curb, that's a little bit different. He's already in handcuffs. He's got the officer holding on to him, and the officer tells him to sit down, and he kind of like starts to crouch just a little bit and starts explaining like, hey, I just had surgery on my knee. Maybe he's just BSing, trying to be difficult, or maybe it actually is hard for him, though I doubt it, because why would he be going to play a professional football game if he can't even sit down? But regardless, he sort of looked like he was physically complying. Like I said, he kind of crouched a little bit, but the one officer just didn't give him any time to actually comply. Like, once a suspect is already in cuffs and he is not like actively trying to fight or run, to me at least, the sort of use of force matrix kind of changes a little bit at that point, because you already have physical control over him. You've made sure he doesn't have any weapons on him, and if he just wants to be a idiot and not listen to you the second you listen to him, it doesn't mean you have to then force him. Like, if they had just sat there for 10-15 more seconds and I'm like, hey man, sit on the ground, like, is it annoying for us? Yeah, because it's like we're dealing with children. Like, even though these are grown adults, they're acting like children. But if it's shown on camera that you had to verbally tell him 15 times to sit on the curb while you're sort of physically motioning him to, like, kind of pushing him down just a little bit, and he then doesn't comply, and then you then force him, like, I don't think anybody would argue that that would be unjustified, or like it would be a reasonable response to that individual's actions. I completely understand why you would want to have somebody sit on the curb as opposed to just standing there holding them, because again, you don't know what their intentions are, what they might try to do. It's not unheard of for people to try to run from you even though they're already in cuffs. So like, sitting them down is a good idea. I just think they could have been a little bit more patient and not have forced him onto the curb so hastily. Again, with their policies, it's all so broad and so general that it's going to be up to the department and their whole system to determine if what these officers did was per policy and per law. I think it's probably legal what they did, but per policy, that's all up to interpretation. I do think it's interesting. There's a lot of comments on the police activity video of people saying, like, if this guy wasn't a celebrity, he would have gone to jail. And I tend to agree with that. I think if this was just some random dude, wasn't a professional football player or whatever, I think he probably would have been taken to jail for, you know, I don't think it'd be hard to prove the reckless driving. It seems like they got multiple phone calls saying that this car was recklessly driving, and the officer himself even saw some reckless driving in there, so they probably could have easily taken him in for reckless driving, but because he's a celebrity, he didn't. And in my opinion, that's pretty messed up. Like, everybody, cops, celebrities, regular people, military, like, we should all be held to the same standards. With all that being said, guys, let me know what you think about the situation down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching the video.